Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Chapman. My topic for tonight is personal responsibility. I describe the personal responsibility and the ability of maturely response of a life of various challenge. This is the way of life I want to share with you guys. A basic in order of our society to operate, a freedom must be fixed with a personal responsibility. The first example that I can share with you guys, the first one is must be a mutual respect each other, try to be love each other, and be responsible. The most important thing is respect each other. That's the key of responsibility of each of everyone to fix to operate our society. So because why? That is lead emotionally change the reactions of irresponsible decisions. Because if we don't know how to respect each other, our society is not getting better. We have to be responsible. So, in order to work, there must be a set of standard provided by our government. That is our actions. For example, our law. For I give you example on that is minimum wage, educational requirements in the certain jobs, and then illegal immigrant. So, I'm gonna start with the illegal immigrant. You know, guys, that you cannot come in this country if you don't have a documentations. Have a certain job that you have a educational, a certain requirements. Have a certain job. You have to go to school. For example, if you have if you are a doctor, you have to go to school to be a doctor. So minimum wage. So we have to follow the law to able to do all these certain things. So traditions. We have some other traditions like a cultural traditions. Every cultures have their own traditions. So we have to respect their traditions too. That's our personal responsibility also. Is the key also there is respect. So people must accept responsibility their own actions. Thus we always we accept our responsibility. So for example, a bad example. So drug trafficking, killing, blaming others like, for example, blaming others like their their alcohol reason they're drunk, they're fighting, so they're blaming others. So some most things is domestic violence and all of this blaming things, always, blaming others of their own fault. So guys, we have to take responsibility of your actions. Always do that. Take responsibility of your actions. Don't blaming someone of your actions. Take responsibility. If you did something, you have to take responsibility of your actions. So, and then So, for example, bad examples in my job as a medical, sometimes we're not perfect. Some of this doctor, they have an error. Some medication has an error. Some medical has an error too. So always take responsibility. So some this patient are cash you out all the time about behavior, blaming you, I'm hurting. You did not do something good. For example, you did do their doctors did do their knee replacement, and if didn't do that what is supposed to, because their body is not responding what it was supposed to, okay, what they do? Blame the doctors, but it's not intentionally. So that's bad examples also. So they cash you out because they're hurting. So they should have take the responsibility too, because but sometimes people are not thinking. They don't think before they cast somebody out, and they always blame someone else, either someone's fault or not. So that's a bad examples for not taking their own responsibility. Also, they just casting someone and blaming someone for their own responsibility. So, for example, lawyers. Some lawyers are corrupt and manipulators. We have a lot of this people that don't take their own responsibility. And then, like for example, like a social workers that make excuses for their behaviors also. So some of their they manipulating their reports and support their own excuses and their bad behaviors also, because they don't want to tell you what's the the real story about what's going on. For example, like their social workers, they don't give it to you the details because they have a lot of excuses. So that kind of example, that liability, they don't want to take a responsibility about it. So that's liability example. So every time we have to take a personal responsibility, we have to do what we can do. So sometimes a citizen encourage the bad behavior because of politics also. So that's my example for that is citizen encourage a bad behavior because of politics. So my example is, for example, Antifa. The riots everywhere, anywhere, because they get paid. So so it's a lot of distractions, all of these things. But can you tell? Can you tell that they don't admit it? They don't take a responsibility. They always deny it. They don't. They said, "Oh, they don't get paid. They don't blah blah blah. They don't get paid because they don't admit their responsibility, and they are not responsible for their actions. They manipulate all these stories. That's why nowadays we have to always be careful and take responsible of our actions. It's a lot of distractions like social media. So personal responsibility is a responsibility of every individuals to have bear in mind what you're doing. Be responsible and think twice before you do something, to take your actions and take to be a personal responsibility. We have to acknowledge if we did something wrong as a personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is a part of our life as an individual. Personal personal life is must be applied for every single daily lifestyle to be acknowledged who you are as a human being or an individual person. I hope you like my video, guys. Have a good evening.